Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this evening. It's our Dallas Weekly video as we highlight all the top prospects in the NFL draft. This evening, we're going to be highlighting Keith Taylor, cornerback out of the University of Washington. If you like the video this evening, please comment and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. And joining me, as always, here on these Dallas Weekly videos is a young man who started the tradition at Florida State, where they are today, as a top 10 program. He was a two-time All-American. He comes from Delray Beach, Florida, out of the 305. That's what he tells me every week, where the Greyhounds run fast down there in South Florida. He was a 12-year vet of the Atlanta Falcons, first-round draft pick in the 1981 draft, 25th selection overall. And he always tells me the 1981 draft was the greatest in NFL draft history. My man, Mr. Bobby Butler. So if you like the video today, please comment and share it. We are 100 Yards of Football. So, Brother Butler, how you doing this evening?
Good. How you doing, man?
Okay, sir, as you know how we do it, like the Great Staples singers, respect yourself.
Respect yourself.
Tell us about Keith Taylor, quarterback out of the University of Washington.
I tell you, Keith Taylor is a guy. He looks like candy to the eye. You know, when you talk about him, the first thing you notice is size, Vincent. The kid is 6'3", 195 pounds. We're talking about a corner. 6'3", 195, right? He's long. He's versatile. You know, and I think with size alone, he's going to intrigue a lot of people because people, when they see him, Vincent, they're going to have flashbacks. They're going to have flashbacks of number 47, the left corner from the Pittsburgh Steelers, by the name of Mel Blount. You know who I'm talking about. They're gonna have flashbacks of corners that are tall. But at the end of the day, this is a different league. This is a different era. All right. In 4 seasons at Washington, he had 90 tackles, 3.5 for losses, 10 passes defended. But here's a key stat: no interceptions. Okay. Solid athletic ability. He has experience outside and in the slot. They play him in the slot. That's an intriguing thing now. A guy that size playing in the slot. That tells me something. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But, you know, I think he's better at playing up close and personal in a zone kind of technique, jamming up close and personal on the line of scrimmage, right? I mean, when you watch him, you know, he's got a low squat stance and press. He looked very balanced, you know. He's got disciplined feet at the line of scrimmage. All right. He's got adequate hips, not the best of hips, adequate hips. All right. It doesn't help him though when he's got to really play against the quick breaking routes. Right. He's a long guy. He's not gonna be like that, you know. So in the NFL, here's my only thought about him. In the NFL, he's gonna struggle against people like Antonio Brown. Well, let's think about it this way. Everybody struggles against Antonio Brown, right? But he's going to have guys like that who's going to have superior quickness and going to really know how to work routes, you know. So you know, I don't know how he's going to fit that way. But here's a great thing about this young man, Vincent, that I love about it. His size, with his experience playing slot a little bit, I can see him somewhere becoming a strong safety, an outside linebacker, all right? He could be a third safety on the team. You know, there's a lot of things you can do with that size that's got the experience to play corner, all right? That says something to me. So I always felt this way about, well, any sport, football in particular. The more you can do, the more valuable you will be to your team. And so if I can take a guy like him and play him at any position in the secondary, and then put him down the box and give him a little bit of work at linebacker or outside linebacker, hey, man, we may find something there. So I think for him, he's got a lot of opportunity. But I don't know how high he'll go in the draft. We're going to have to wait and see that. But I like him. I like his athleticism. I think he can play zone press in the NFL. He's physical at the line, right? There's just some unknowns about it.
Think about Keith Taylor that he comes from a school out there in the Northwest, the University of Washington, that's If you look at overall, it's probably the second best program out there on the West Coast to USC in terms of putting players in the NFL. But when I look at the school's had a great defensive back tradition. Nasty Glasgow.
That's right.
Nasty Jackson. Ray Horton Jr., who you should know pretty up close and personal, Brother Butler. My man Dana Hall and Charles Mincy. So he's coming from a situation that when they go out there and play football out there in the Northwest, he's getting some good training over the years and a great coach in Don James to coach a great program. But you mentioned the thing about him being long. Well, there is credibility that he's similar to Mel Blount, but I'm going to take you back down memory lane. He got a little Bobby Taylor in him, Bobby.
Okay.
Then I'm going to take you back to the young man from Hampton, Virginia. He was one of the first real long corners. Help me out, Brother Bobby. Jerry Holmes that played with the Jets out of Hampton, Virginia.
Yes, sir.
Football playing in the 80s when you played it at a high level.
Special corner.
Then another guy, Isaac Hope. You know I got to go down back to the roots of Mississippi, out of Alcorn State. He fought Ronell Young and my man Leslie Frazier. And then most of all, games similar to Richard Sherman. But let me ask you this. You brought up a good point. You got a guy this size. Obviously, he might have some problems having a quick receiver. But when you look at Mr. Keith Taylor in his length, don't you think he can survive like Richard Sherman has done over the last 6 years in the league?
Oh, it's no doubt. It's just some unknowns. I mean, he's played well out there, right? Ball production though is one that, like, for me, that's like a little slight, check on the box. But the more you can do, Vincent, I think this guy's going to be a good pro. I think he can have a long career because the one thing about him, he can play multiple positions.
The final thought I got about Mr. Keith Taylor is very physical in the run game, 59 tackles in 13 games.
Yes.
I mean, that's very huge. I just mean to our audience, I didn't play in the league, but the 12-year vet did. He played at a high level at Florida State. So I'm asking you, that's production when you look at a corner in 13 games, 59 tackles.
That's production. And his physicality really tells me, Vincent, he can be better suited on the inside. You see what I'm saying? See,
yes,
in the NFL, if you're dependent on your cornerbacks to stop run plays, there's something wrong with your defense. That's not an NFL corner. An NFL corner is a lockdown guy. That's what you're looking for. You want to stop the run with your 7 guys up front. If they're running the secondary, Vincent, defense has got problems, right?
Yes, sir.
So, but with that physicality, like I say, this guy can do a lot of things. He can wear a lot of hats. That's going to work in his favor and his advantage. I don't think he's just going to be a corner in the National Football League, right? Because he might get on a team that don't play zone, that don't play, there might be a man-to-man Jerry Glanville all-out bullet defense. That won't suit him. But I'll tell you one thing he can do in that Bullets defense. You can put him inside, and he'll make plays for you all day long. So I think this guy is going to be a great pro, like I say, because he can do a multiple of things.
Okay, final words on Mr. Keith Taylor and his journey into the 2021 NFL Draft, Brother Butler.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm excited for him, right? And for me, I'm excited to see exactly who drafted him and what they're going to be able to do with him and what they're going to do with him, right? And so that's going to be intriguing to me. But let's say this, Vincent. A guy like him, Louis Wright, those guys, Mel Blount, when you playing up close and personal, they present a problem for quarterbacks because the spacing, trying to put the ball in that perfect spot. These guys are he's 6'3". So when that ball, even if he's beat, Vincent, it's still gonna be hard to complete those balls because you got to really put it in a spot. And we know deep balls are underthrown most of the time. And so, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see. But this guy's going to have value, and I think he's going to be a good pro.
My final words on Keith Taylor, as you heard it from one of the greatest that ever played at this level, Mr. Bobby Butler. I think Keith Taylor, as Mr. Butler just said, is a very versatile player. I see him being more or less a corner that's going to be of multiple positions, as Brother Butler said. But the one thing I like about the young man, even though he didn't have an interception, He had 10 passes defended in 29 games. That's huge. That tells me he's getting his hands on the ball. And number two, he went down to the Senior Bowl and represented himself at a high level. And he played for a school, the University of Washington. Listen to what I'm saying. Outside USC, they're the second program to me that's best on that West Coast. All I got to say is Warren Moon. Can I get an amen?
Amen,
So,
brother.
that being said, Mr. Keith Taylor, as the great Staples singers, Mr. Pop said, respect yourself. Keith Taylor's going to respect himself when he go into the 2021 NFL draft. If you like the video today, please come and share it. It's been a wonderful ride here today with the veteran, the 12-year vet, the number one draft choice with the Atlanta Falcons, 25th selection overall. And don't y'all forget it. And can you handle it? He did start what's happening at Florida State University, my man Bobby Butler. So God bless, and y'all have a wonderful evening. We are 100 Yards of Football.